eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley joins us now to discuss what happens next at the Capitol. House Democrats have one plan to make up the shortfall, but the Speaker has some very different ideas. Where do things stand now?
Well, it is interesting that House Speaker Charles McCall has moved a bit toward the Democrats, announcing that he would put a cigarette tax increase on the floor for consideration by the members. In the past, he has seemed to indicate that that would not be the case, that he would not ask lawmakers to consider revenue-raising measures. However, at the same time, he has not gone as far as the Democrats want. The Democrats would like to see an increase in the gross production tax and possibly an increase in the income tax for higher earners in Oklahoma, but he has certainly not moved in that direction. At the same time, of course, there's probably also some opposition to increasing the gross production tax in the Senate as well as the income tax. And the governor has said not to favor an income tax increase, and her position on the gross production tax is not as well known. So we're still some ways from having an agreement between all those who will be gathering again at the Capitol.
What about other sources of funds to help make up the shortfall?
Well, there is some cash available, money which was not appropriated during the last year as a result of all the revenue changes, about $83 million. Then there's a little more than $20 million, which they could take from the rainy day fund in order to augment that. There's also the possibility that they could look at eliminating tax exemptions. As you'll recall, the court ruled a little more than a week ago that it only takes 51 votes to remove a tax exemption and therefore generate additional revenue. But it doesn't seem like any tax exemptions are going to be on the table. It does seem likely, however, that they will try to spend that cash as well as the money in the rainy day fund to offset the $214 million that they lost in the tobacco cessation fee decision.
What happens if no revenue-raising measures are passed?
Well, if no revenue-raising measures are passed and they only use the cash which they have on hand, that's still going to leave a hole of more than $100 million. So in that case, there's only one way to address that situation, and that's budget cuts to state agencies. Various talks have been taking place where the indications seem to be that they would want to hold education harmless. There's also been talk of holding the Department of Corrections harmless. So then you are looking at an across-the-board cut somewhere in the 3 to 4% range. On the other hand, they could also look at targeted cuts, reducing some agencies more than others in order to avoid some of the harm that might come if an agency suffered a larger cut.
Sean Ashley with eCapitol, thanks for being here.
You're very welcome.